Hi everybody, I'm Tim Bulot. Welcome to WeaponsAcademy.com, our YouTube channel, and episode 10 of Training to Survive from 1996, re-edited and brought back into action. This is going to be our season finale here. We're going to take a short break after episode 10 so we can start gathering information for episode 11 in season 2, and season 2 and beyond depends on you. We need those likes, we need those subscriptions, we need those shares, we need viewership to keep this going. So do your part, spread the word, share the wealth, share the knowledge, and let's keep Training to Survive alive in 2022 and beyond, even though it started in 1996. We got a great lineup for you tonight. We've got a special guest, Mr. Mike Keller, that's going to be with us to show us some Jeet Kune Do concepts involving counter strikes. After that, we're going to go into the gym with Brenda, and she's going to combine a lot of these exercises that we've worked on into supersets to help you gain strength and power and speed in your Kempo. After that, on the mat with me, we're going to look at some difficult Kempo techniques, family-related Kempo techniques, and highlight some important concepts, theories, and principles. Officer Rick is going to talk to us about being streetwise and safe, and then after that, for our modern martial arts segment, we're going to look on enhancing some of the techniques that we discussed previously in the on the mat session. So an outstanding lineup packed with Kempo information tonight, naturally so, as we wrap up the season. So hang in there with us. Let's get this thing going.
Yeah, sir. Hey, you go.
Watch your control.
That's the key out. That's the key out.
Hi everybody, I'm Tim Bulot. Welcome to this edition of Training to Survive. The program for today is martial arts and fitness enthusiasts. And then we're going to meet with Mr. Mike Keller from Fort Worth, Texas, who teaches Jeet Kune Do concepts, has a school over in West Fort Worth, and he's going to give us an idea of what that's all about. So it's going to be a great show. Get ready and let's get started. Today's martial arts world lesson is going to come from Mike Keller, who teaches Jeet Kune Do concepts over in Fort Worth, Texas. Now, Jeet Kune Do has been steadily gaining in popularity since the death of the late master Bruce Lee in the early 1970s, and you're going to find that Jeet Kune Do employs a lot of concepts and principles from a lot of different martial arts. There's grappling involved, there's striking arts involved, as well as stick and knife fighting. So let's go down, let's take a lesson from Mr. Mike Keller. Let's learn a little bit more about the fascinating art of Jeet Kune Do. Okay, back in the 90s, one of the martial artists that I had the pleasure of videotaping was Mike Keller. Now, Mike Keller is an instructor of Jeet Kune Do concepts, and at that time he had a school over in Fort Worth, Texas. Mike and I produced a video series entitled Self-Defense Made Easy, which it sold in Black Belt magazine under the AJT video title and so forth, and it did well, okay? This next section for tonight is going to be taken from that series of Self-Defense Made Easy, and you'll actually see how the name fits the material that was taught by Mr. Keller. His techniques were very easy to learn, very effective on the street, and tonight we're going to work on Jeet Kune Do counter striking and so forth, as he demonstrates hand strikes, elbow strikes, and knee strikes. Now, Mr. Keller still teaches today. He is in Sweetwater, Texas, and we have included his contact information. So if you're out that way and you're interested in learning some of Mr. Keller's Jeet Kune Do concepts, the information to contact him has been provided. But anyway, for tonight, enjoy this section on counter strikes with Mike Keller.
The next thing we'd like to look at today, the next response will be hand strikes. And in Sector 1, before when you learned how to do this, after you've learned how to do the parry and deflection, you just turn this now into a punch, a palm, a claw, a finger thrust. They will all work. So we're going to do these for you a little bit here. There's a punch. You could palm strike the person. You can claw, or the worst by far is the finger thrust to the eye. Now in Sector 2, 3, and 4, these are going to look identical. You could palm strike, you could punch, you can claw, and you can finger thrust. In 3, four, the fifth response we'd like to look at today is impact strikes with the elbow. If a punch or a grab came very straight and you end up in Sector 1, the first elbow we'll look at today comes from a Filipino method, and this is called sandwiching, when you clasp the head in this manner and then drive the elbow in this fashion. So again, slowly. With a little bit of speed. In Sector 2, from the split entry, an easy elbow here is to puncture. Just pull your hand up like this and drive the elbow into the chest. Now we'll turn to the other side so you can see this a little bit better. From Sector 2, from here, now just imagine you're combing your hair and leave your hand right here over your ear. They call this combing the hair in the Filipino martial arts. So from here, once this is established, just drive your elbow into their chest and puncture. Now, a word of caution on all these is to be very careful. If this person is traveling, even when you're training this, if you get a little too aggressive, we've seen people get hurt real easy with this. So be careful with each other. Ready? Good. In Sector 3, this goes to here. Okay, so slowly. Once their momentum has been stopped, you can sandwich in this method, or you can lift. This will also feel very natural. The lifting elbow like this under the chin. So in Sector 4, the most common one is, once their momentum has been stopped, is to just do a horizontal elbow. You can clasp the head in this manner, or you can throw more of a tie elbow if you want to throw multiple elbows in that fashion. And later in our training drills in the next sector, we'll go into a little more about that and teach you how to do that. So again, slowly on 4, you can clasp the head, or you could go into multiple strikes. The sixth and final response we'll look at today are knee attacks. And in Sector 1, once you arrive right here, just clasp the arm and drive your right knee into the thigh. Now, if you're into Sector 1 with the footwork that you should be using to get away from the second hand, your weight will be more on this knee, and the right knee, it will feel very natural to pull him into your right knee. Now, sometimes you may end up to where this could be farther back. If he were in a real deep stance, just take the ribs. This will be fine. So again, slow. From here, just like before when you were hitting, now just clasp the arm and pull them into your knee. In Sector 2, let the right hand travel around, clasp the back of the head, and you can pull into the thigh sometimes, the groin, the chest, or sometimes if you can pull their head down far enough, you can go to the face. Now we'll do this from the other side, get a little better look at this here. Ready? From Sector 2, let the hand pass around to the back of the head, knee to the thigh, the chest, whatever target's available, face, and I'll have my partner put his hand down there. And we'll do this with just a little bit of speed. That's it. There we go. Ready? In Sector 3, once you've stopped the progress, let the right hand shoot through this sector right here, and we're going to clasp the head with both hands. Now, when you arrive here, he may punch right now. That's what this is for. This goes to here, and now you begin the kneeing process. And a single knee looks like this. I could strike here. I might pull up into his body, or if I could pull his face down far enough, I could knee into his face. Now, the second method that we're going to look at is more like a Thai boxing method, and we'll ask my training partner here to put his hands like this for protection. So from here, once you arrive in this sector, these are called skip knees. Good, thank you. The last one we'll look at today in Sector 4 is when you end up inside here, just clasp the head with the right hand, pull into the right knee. This will feel very natural. Again, it might be the thigh, it might be the groin, the chest, but in this particular instance, the face will feel pretty normal.
Hi, my name is Brenda White. I'm an instructor here at the Academy of Kenpo Karate. Today I will be talking about supersets. Supersets are done for muscles that are lagging, like if you train for a long time and you see no results in a particular area of a muscle, one muscle or two muscles, then supersets are done to increase muscle size. Okay? Supersets are also a combination of two exercises. Supersets increase your circulatory system by getting more oxygen to certain muscles, thereby giving it more nutrients so the muscles get bigger. They also stimulate the nerves in that particular area of the muscles, thereby making the muscles bigger. Okay, today we're going to do biceps and triceps, and we're also going to do a superset of chest and back. The first exercise that we're going to do for biceps is going to be barbell curls. Okay, this is going to be we do one set of barbell curls. We do 10 reps with this. I'm moving a little bit fast here. You want to slow it down just a tad. Now immediately, with no rest in between, you immediately go to triceps. So I'm taking two different muscle groups, remember this, and I'm working them both together. With triceps, I'm going to do dips. Okay, so I immediately go into that without resting. I'm talking a lot here, but you don't want to talk. You want to immediately go into the exercise. So here's one. We're going to do 10 here. Okay, you want to do 3 sets of each of these exercises. That means that with each set that you do, you're going to do 20 reps, 10 for biceps, then you're going to turn around and you're going to do 10 for triceps. Okay, another good combination for doing this, we could switch it up and we could do triceps presses, okay, and we could start out here. You can put your legs up or down. You're just going to take the weight and press up. We're going to do about 10 reps here. I'm moving a little bit fast, so you want to slow it down just a tad. Okay. Immediately, without resting, we go to biceps. Here I'm doing alternating dumbbell curls, or you could just say straight up curls. You can do one arm at a time or two, and we're going to do 10 reps. And again with this, you're going to do 3 sets of each of them, 10 reps for each for biceps, 10 reps for triceps. Okay, let's move on to chest. We could do a chest-back combination where we do a bench press movement, a flat bench press movement. Okay. And we immediately go into back. So for this, I'm going to do dumbbell rows. And we do 10 reps. Or we could do incline presses. And I need to switch this out here. I've got the bench set up for incline presses, so let's move over here. Okay, we're gonna do 10 reps. I'm gonna put your hands inside of the bar. If you're using a 45-pound barbell, and that's what this is. Okay, let's do 10 reps here. Move a little bit slower. Okay, let's pick this up. Let's move over to lat machine pull downs. Okay, so we can concentrate on the back. Okay, let's get position here. We're going to do 10 reps. Okay, you can do this front or rear. You can take it in front, or you can do it here. Okay, let's move back over here to the incline bench. Okay, those were some examples of exercises that you can do with supersets. You got to remember that earlier we did biceps and triceps together, and then we finished up, we did back and chest together. Okay, words of caution. Supersets are not for beginners, people who have just started training, okay? It's more like for intermediate and advanced weight trainers, okay? If you've been doing this for, say, 3 months to 4 months, 3 to 4 months, then you can start doing supersets, okay? Like everything, if a muscle is lagging, it responds if you're doing something different to it. But if you keep doing the same old, then the muscle doesn't respond anymore. You gotta remember that. You can do supersets, but don't do them all the time, because when you do them all the time, then your body gets used to it and then it stops responding. So I recommend that you do supersets, I'd say maybe once a week doing your workouts, like if you work 3 days on, 1 off, do it on one of those days that you have 3 days and the other 2 days or whatever training that you may be doing, okay? So supersets are a good way to build the muscle, but don't do it too often. One time a week, and that's it. That concludes our segment of supersets, and keep training.
Tonight's On the Mat is geared toward all of our Kempo practitioners out there. So this is a video piece that I shot back in '96, and I'm going to take 4 techniques for the outside of a right punch. One from yellow, one from orange, one from purple belt, and one from blue belt. And I'm going to break these techniques down for my students and kind of explain some of the issues the students have learning the techniques, and then some of the similarities between the techniques, and highlight a few important concepts, theories, and principles about these techniques, okay? And I would make videos in-house like this from time to time so I could circulate them amongst the students just to help them prep for their test and things of that nature. We had a video magazine that used to come out once a month, and it was a 30-minute tape, and it had a lot of tips like this on it, but it was just to be used in the school. So I've gone back and I found one to use for tonight's mat segment, because the original mat segment was damaged just because the tape is old. So this is actually interesting, and if you're in Kempo, you're going to get something out of this. So let's go now to On the Mat, step back to 1996, and look at some of the difficult techniques working the outside of a right punch, your first 4 belts in Kempo.
Hi everybody, welcome to this month's edition of On the Mat. Our topic for today is going to be difficult techniques. Every belt has 1 or 2 or 3 techniques that just seems to give the students fits. Well, today I'm going to pick one of those from yellow, one from orange, one from purple, and one from blue belt, and we're going to review it a little bit to kind of help you and give you a better handle on these techniques. Now, one thing interesting about all 4 techniques that I've chosen today is that they're considered to be family-related techniques. Now, family-related techniques are techniques that all stem from the same source, but they're going to vary according to circumstances, and you're going to see how this works as we go through the techniques individually. Okay, now I'm going to throw some terminology at you here, sprinkling some concepts, some theories, and some principles and so forth. I want you guys to remember these because you may be quizzed on them. Okay, Brian's going to come on in and he's going to be assisting us, Brian, today. Now the first one we're going to work is a yellow belt technique. It's called attacking mace. Now for your younger audience, we do this a little bit different in the adult curriculum as we do for the youth curriculum, but pay attention because you're going to have to learn it this way also. So now attacking mace works the outside of a right straight step through punch. Now as a beginner, we utilize distance. Our skill level is quite not well enough to stay in there close, so we're going to utilize distance. So Brian's going to shoot the punch, and I'm going to drop back, and I use a left inward block, okay? My right hand is chambered and somewhat checking, okay? Now at this level, I want to introduce this to you right away. Okay, Brian, put your hand up here like it's, give me a pad here. As you shoot this block, boom, you can come through with that. Leave that there, fire the punch, okay? And you can angle and hit, and you can block and strike at the same time. And that's exactly what this is called, is a ricochet strike, because it hits and it blocks first, boom, and then it turns into your opponent. So even as a yellow belt, you can start picking this up now. So you take the inward block, go ahead, hit the target, and ricochet off, and it blocks the punch and it strikes your opponent, okay? Now, one thing that makes this technique so difficult, one thing I like about it, it's got 2 forward bow stances in it. Brian shoots the punch, use your distance, and I'm going to check, pivot to a forward bow. Now see how his arm is set up? Okay, this is called a complementary angle, and what that is taking advantage of your opponent's limb to lead you and track to a target. My left hand is bracing as a bracing angle check. I don't want to see this, block and chamber and punch. That's one thing I see a lot, okay? It's block, bracing angle, and punch. I'm going to show you a little secret here. Brian, let me put you on this angle. Okay, as he shoots that punch, I can actually use my bracing angle to hook this arm, and I can use my punch to parallel his arm, and actually hyperextend and break that arm. Let's watch it again. Okay, so we go 1, and snap the elbow, okay? Now that's just a little extra. That's part of watching the program. Let's go back to the book way. Okay, block, and punch. Now from here, okay, I'm going to off angle slightly. I'm in my first forward bow stance and check that arm. Don't chamber this hand. Leave it out here checking. See this? Another complementary angle. Shoot your roundhouse kick, plant. Notice the knee check, okay? I'm pushing with my right, and I'm going to go to a forward bow, boom, and shoot a punch to the kidney, turning my opponent away, okay? Let's watch it again. 2 forward bow stances, okay? Neutral, forward, step and grab, check, kick, and forward bow. Okay, let's do one at street speed, Brian. Batsa, 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 batsa. One more. Batsa, batsa. Okay, thank you, Brian. Okay, that's attacking mace, the outside of a right step through punch. Use distance, bracing angle check. Complementary angle, forward bow. Off angle and check, both hands. Complementary angle, up the thigh. Knee check, forward bow, diagonal punch. And back to it neutral. Okay, work it. It's a good technique. Okay, the next technique is going to come out of orange belt. This technique is dance of death. Now, you're working on orange belt. You've got a lot of techniques in at this point. You're a little bit higher skill. Okay, so what we're going to do, instead of stepping back from the punch, is we're going to off angle and work forward and to the left of the punch. Now, Brian's going to shoot that punch, and also I want you to notice how he steps in. The left leg is going to be leading this time, okay? Remember, I said these techniques are what? They all stem from the same source, which is the outside of a right punch, but they're going to vary according to circumstances. And the circumstance here is the other leg is forward, okay, which may not be quite as adept for attacking mace. So Brian shoots the punch, and I off angle, and once again, there's my ricochet, my block, and strike simultaneous. Okay, let's look at it. Okay, block, my left hand is hanging naturally. I'm going to pivot to a forward bow, and I'm going to catch to the groin. Brian, if you could take a step back with a reverse hand sword. Okay, now from this angle, okay, shoot the punch. Okay, 1. Now notice the way that he's positioned at this point. I'm going to use a principle called fitting. I'm going to take the best fit of my weapon to align to that target, which in this case is going to be the reverse hand sword. Okay, let's watch it again. Okay, okay. Now this brings the opponent's hands down. Okay, and that's going to offer us a check. As I simply roll this hand up, I'm using the back of my hand to keep that elbow in check. I'm going to do a right step through. Now this is where everybody seems to have problems. Look how my knee is positioned here, folks, okay? I'm not even going to attempt to take him down until I've got the knee working to the inside of his knee, okay? This hand's checking. Now the elbow and the takedown come simultaneously, okay? But I'm going to use my knee as a fulcrum against his knee. In other words, when I hook the back of his leg, I'm going to push my knee into his knee as I elbow, and he's going to roll around that. Notice it's still in there, okay? I'm in a right neutral bow. He raises his legs, I close kneel, hit that femoral nerve right to the inside of the thigh, circle this around, go to a reverse wide kneel, and you're going to drop this right into the femoral region, and notice my right knee is still checking. From here, you're going to cover out, okay? Come on up, Brian. Okay, watch it again. Pay particular attention to the takedown. This is what's throwing the students, is this takedown. What they do is, give me this line up this way, Brian, give me the punch, okay? People go here, and they hit, and they try to take him down like so, and they end up pulling the foot, go down, Brian, right into the groin, okay? Okay, and you can fix that if you use your knee and complete the step through. Okay, so he punches. 1, 2, hands down, check. Look at the knee. I've got a fulcrum. Okay, I'm clear, or he's clear of my groin. Back knuckle, boom, laying the chop, and you're an orange belt, so cover out. Okay, now let's take it and let's do it up to speed. And that's, when you hit that forward bow, you're not going to stay fixed, or that neutral bow, you're not going to stay fixed in there, but for an instant, and immediately pivot. Once again, keeping your left hand up. It's not braced, so it becomes a positional check in this technique as your opponent covers his groin. Okay, our next technique in this family of techniques is going to be thundering hammers. This is another killer for those of you working on purple belts. We adapt here and we go into wide kneels and closed kneels, okay, and then we're simultaneously striking the upper portion of the body, okay, and jamming and checking with those knees, and to cause injury in this particular technique, so we've got multi-level striking that we're using here. Okay, Brian, come on in. Now, once again, these techniques, what? They vary according to circumstances. So the circumstance is he steps in with the right step-through punch this time, okay, go ahead, throw the punch, and that this lead leg is out, okay, the right leg is out. Once again, there's my ricochet, blocking strike there, okay? So if I go from here, now the leg takedown that we didn't dance to death is a little bit harder to affect in this technique. If he had his other hand up, Brian, put your other hand up, and had been checking here, okay, that kills attacking Mace. Look at this leg. Complementary angle. Boom, as I pivot into a wide kneel stance. Now if you can see my knee, I'm checking here. My left hand is up. A lot of people ask, why isn't the left hand here? Well, this technique is somewhat self-checking. Shoot the punch, I block, boom, okay? The reaction of the body at this point is to pull the hands in. So when he does that, I want to roll this around. I'm going to hammer to the shoulder with the right, and I'm going to hit both kidneys with the left, okay? I'm in a right wide kneel. Notice my left knee checking. This contours and checks, I drop back to a closed kneel, staying on the outside of his leg, and I hit the back of the neck. Now, let's look at just the stances, okay? Shoot the punch, block. Now I'm going to put my hands back. Just go ahead and drop your hand, Brian. And I'm not going to do the strikes. I'm going to do the stance. Watch the footwork. Shuffle and check, okay? Adjust and check, and then this is just a pivot and check. Look at that again. This is tough. This is important, okay? Get this out of the way. Adjust, adjust, and there's a closed kneel, okay? One more time, okay? Neutral bow, wide kneel, closed kneel. Now let's look at it with the strikes, okay? Now right from here, this is another problem. You need to off angle around the front of your opponent. So I'm stepping back to about 6 or 5:30 as you back knuckle, leave the thumb out to rip, shuffle, and heel palm. Now from this point right here, a lot of you students aren't coming out but to here. Okay, when you shuffle in, okay, you're kind of getting this in the way, the legs open and so forth. So let's watch the whole technique slow and easy. Block, hits, hammer, hammer. Step back and rip. Look how much room I've got. Okay, shuffle in, shoot your heel palm, and cross out. Thundering hammers, it's a great technique. Ryan, let's do one at speed. Hand out. Thank you, Brian. Okay, let's work on flashing wings, a difficult technique for those of you working on blue belt techniques. Okay, Brian shoots a right punch. Once again, we're working on the outside of that. You've got this option, keep it in mind. Now, perhaps he's got his whole side checked out here. I may be a little too close for this. He's not set up right for dance of death. He could be checking low in this case. The thundering hammers may not be the best option. So I'm going to use a glancing elbow at this point. So from here, my left turns into a bracing angle. I'm going to pivot to a forward bow, slip that elbow through. Now look how it positions his head right into this. Okay, you're going to rip and tear, and this acts as a neck break, okay? And as I go to back to a neutral, I rip the face, use an elbow to that shoulder blade to set up a hand sword to the neck, followed by a hand sword to the spine between the shoulder blades. I'm in a right wide kneel. My right hand is checking. Look at my left knee again. Once again, similar to thundering hammers, checking the back of that leg. Let this contour down, keep that arm in check, close kneel, and a lifting hand sword right to the face, okay? Now this technique works better for those of you who perhaps are dealing with a shorter opponent, because this claw and this tear to the face, okay, is better in range and it's easier to fit in. So he shoots the punch, okay, block, I'm going to check, slip the elbow, forward bow, grab the face, rip, chop, and chop on that. Flashing wings. Brian, let's pump it up to speed. And then cross out. Okay, work with that. Look for the similarities between your techniques. Okay, now, to wrap this up, what we're going to do is we're going to take these 4 techniques, okay, and I'm going to work all of them back to back. This is something you higher ranks can play with. If you have just 1 or 2 of them, you can work them in this order. So you're practicing all your difficult techniques simultaneously. Now, remember, each one varies according to circumstances, and I gave you different circumstances on when you should use or practice a different move. Now, what Brian's going to do is he's just going to throw the right punch, and he's going to set the circumstances for me. He's going to mix it up, and I'm just going to adjust my techniques and figure out which one to use in process according to how Brian attacks. Okay, you ready? Okay, and go.
What's up? 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 What's up?
Thank you, Brian. Okay, and that will give you something to play with on these techniques. Now, for those of you who don't have all these techniques at that point, or at this point, that's part of the beauty, part of the value of being able to collect this series. Because when you get to the technique, pull out this tape, go over it, watch and learn.
Hello, I'm Officer Rick Cutler with Irving Police Department. Back with you again this week to provide you another crime prevention tip. This week we're going to focus on how to be streetwise and safe. We all know living in Metroplex how dangerous it can be, so I'm going to give you 3 basic rules to go by. Number 1 is do stay alert. Be aware of your surrounding. Know who's walking in front of you and who's walking behind you. If you feel like you're going to an area where a crime may occur, take a friend with you or just simply don't go. Do communicate the message that you are calm and confident. Stand tall and walk with a purpose. Make eye contact with the people around you. Number 3, do trust your instincts. If you're going someplace and you know a crime is going to occur, or you feel uncomfortable in a place or situation, simply don't go. Turn around and walk the other way. That's a few tips that should help you stay safe while out here in the Metroplex. So be careful, be safe, and we'll see you next time.
Tonight for our modern martial arts segment, I'm going to take you fast forward to about 2018. Now, Kempo is a system that was designed to be evolved as the world changed, so to speak. People don't fight on the streets. Attackers don't attack like they did back in 1996, and in 1996 they didn't attack like what they did back in the 70s and the 60s. You get the idea. The dominant martial arts back in those days might not be the dominant martial arts of today, and because of the fast transfer of information that we have today, fighting knowledge and self-defense knowledge travels rapidly, okay? So I don't teach exactly today like what I taught back then. Now, if somebody wants to learn Ed Parker's American Kempo, then by all means I can teach them Ed Parker's American Kempo, but all of these techniques can be modified to fit an individual or modified to fit a situation as needed and Mr. Parker called that tailoring, okay? And he gave us a lot of tools to assist us in that, and one of them was the equation formula, which was basically a conglomeration of different principles in which we could use to adapt our techniques to situations as needed, okay? So we looked at attacking Mace in the on the mat segment, and now we're going to look at attacking Mace a little more like what I do with it today, okay? And so today I teach more concept, principle, and theory orientation to a technique than I do just sticking with it by the numbers or exactly like it's written in the book. So as things evolve, we evolve with them, and Kempo is no exception to that. So let's go down to modern martial arts. Let's take a look at attacking Mace and how you may choose to apply it or the principles from it in a situation today.
Let's take attacking Mace. Everybody likes this technique. What's the attack in attacking Mace? Right, straight step through punch. First of all, go ahead and do the punch. Okay, is this realistic? It would be more realistic for him to punch like that, would it not? Okay, it doesn't really change a lot. So he shuffles in and punch, and I step back and I block it, and then I put that in there, okay? Not bad, okay? Not bad, but once again, it's still relying on this timing that is not that easy to do, okay? I have to be in a perfect neutral bow with a perfect inward block to make that work. Not really, okay? So what we can do is we can alter and adjust, okay? So what I'm going to do with this, okay, watch this guys, he shoots that punch and I just adjusted a little bit. All I did from a natural position is I stepped off and I made my block a parry, okay? It's still, I'm moving a block in a defense, but I'm just going to there, which is much more natural. It's almost like, oh, okay, one more time, step in, boom, go to work, okay? Okay, so he shoots and I'm there. That is my check, okay? So from here, I've opened up those ribs. So what I'm going to do, instead of throwing that horizontal punch, I'm just going to make it a vertical punch, and I'm making it somewhat circular, and there's my distraction technique, okay? Now I've gained the initiative just with those two moves, okay? So we can go here, slow and easy, 1, 2, or just adjust, alter, and I'm right there, okay? So, and you've got overlapping circles. That's something Kempo instructors love to say, and it's for that reason I probably hardly ever say it. Okay? So one more time, we got 1, 2. Okay? And that punch, that's just like the boxer that steps off, boom! And he just drives that in there. Okay? Go to work. Contact proximity, okay? We're using that. Got that, boom! I've got that, which is the palm. Now, how many punches are there in attacking Mace? I'll give you the answer right there. There's 2 punches. Okay, block, punch, step, grab, kick, and punch. I'm going to take one of those punches and I'm gonna alter it. It becomes a palm. Why? Because I don't like punching a guy in the head. I will, but I know a lot of people that have broken their or injured their hand from punching a guy in the head and they weren't able to finish the operation. So I would recommend a palm to the head. Same motion, it's a thrusting motion or a snapping motion. I'm just going to use a palm. Okay, so slow, 1, 2, 3. And I can make a little bit of an adjustment step there if I need to also. And look at the reaction of Lance. Here, there. Now I maybe could get that in there, okay, because I set it up that way. It's still attacking Mace, or it was. It's still the same 4 moves of attacking Mace. I just put a little equation formula magic on it, and then with the strategic formula, I organize it properly, and now I have a pretty good, effective street technique there, okay? Now, the whole idea is if he's going to throw that left, is that left coming right behind it there, okay? So you've got to be quick to change the initiative. That just canceled it, that, and then that, okay? And I'm using overlapping circles all the same, so slow and easy, okay? 1, 2, I can adjust
if I need to, and then kick, okay? Where am I going after this? Chinatown? No, I'm gonna cover and dominate, okay? All right, go to work.
Hey man, hey man,
Okay, so that's going to wrap up episode 10 of Training to Survive and season 1 of Training to Survive. We hope you've enjoyed these first 10 episodes because we've enjoyed bringing this information to you. This has been a lot of fun going back into these old television programs, re-editing them, and actually enhancing them with some modern segments as well. And we always shared the platform with other martial artists. Even though the show was based around my school in Irving, Texas, I always opened that format to other martial artists, and that's exactly what I plan to continue to do. Of course, that's going to be based on you and the viewership. For my old students out there, I hope you've enjoyed this trip down memory lane. I definitely miss you guys, and it was a joy to kind of work with you again in this aspect of at least re-editing these videotapes. And I truly appreciate the time and effort that all of y'all put into making this show the success that it was back in that day. So we're going to work on season 2. We're going to take a pause here. I've got some Weapons Academy video productions coming up. I've got a Jeep trip coming up here to the Rocky Mountains that'll be on our, it'll be edited and played on our Adventure Backcountry channel, as well as some other things that we're going to do in the interim here. But we plan on this fall being back on the Weapons Academy YouTube channel with Training to Survive Season 2. I've pretty much located all of the original tapes, and I'm in the 50s numbers. There's 50 some odd shows altogether. Now some of those are going to need a little bit of work as those tapes are old, as was this one. We had to do a lot of editing on this one, and some of them are in great shape the way that they are, but nevertheless I'm enjoying the modern martial arts segment, and I want your input on what you want to see for season 2. What other schools and martial artists, martial arts styles would you like to see on this? But as always, there's going to be lots of Kempo and lots of video archives, as we got plenty of that already in the can. So anyway, y'all take care out there. Thank you for a great season 1. Y'all be safe, train hard. If you're not training, you ought to be. If you're not training at Weapons Academy, come check us out and see what we're doing. But y'all stay safe. God bless. Take care. We'll see you in season 2.
Okay, this concludes this edition of Training to Survive. I hope you've enjoyed the program and that you were able to get something out of it. If you have any questions or comments, or to have your question answered on our show, please write to us at the Academy of Kenpo Karate, 3325 West Rochelle Road, Irving, Texas 75062, or give us a call at Metro 972-256-3969. We'll see you next week, same time, same channel. Stay safe, practice your techniques. We'll see you on the next program. Okay, everybody relax. All right, Sean, short form 1. Okay, speed and power.